Entonces aquí todos son desarrolladores, ¿cierto? Menos Kate y Con. Ella, Kate le tira el código.
¿Podrías revisar la pantalla tuya porque no está saliendo acá?
Ese es el suyo, MMB. Es que yo creo.
No, es decir, si el servicio sigue activo,
Ah, se supone que ahí está.
porque aquí estoy viendo todo negrito.
¿Será porque estoy con el HMI?
Mira a ver si mira a ver si tiene otro escritorio.
Pues. No, pues el proyector y ese. Buenas noches. How are you? Fine, thank you. Te estábamos esperando. Era la última. Mentira, mentira. Unos problemas técnicos acá.
Por algún motivo no sale.
Mira, vamos a hacer una prueba. Vamos a conectar este. Y ahí les da la idea.
Vuelve, mira a ver, vuelve a abrir el DVD.
Sí, ahí está abierto. Sí. Ahí está.
Ahí ya.
Sí, ve. Y
No,
si,
conéctelo a ver, sí.
y si lo conecto, me muere.
Ahí sigue vivo.
¿Sí? Ah, bueno. Sigue.
Sí, ya le digo, sí. Pero la presentación no se ve así.
Pues sí. Se ve más chiquita.
Ah, no, ya se ve. Tiene el delay. Bueno, nada.
Para ir a ver el partido de Colombia.
Para que nos podamos ir a ver el partido de Colombia.
Social.
Bueno, welcome. I love that T-shirt, my friend. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this Deploy Talk. As you know it, the Tribu is a community here in Cartago, and we have different space around the community. And so sorry for that and for the listeners around the world, because I don't have. I would like to have a better English for that, but I'm just trying to do my best right now. So first of all, thank you everybody here in this classroom. We are at the Cámara de Comercio. Thank you, Cámara de Comercio de Cartago, for sharing this space for all of us. And if you are following us through internet, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'm as an influencer. Yeah. Today we are going to have a speaking club, but we are using this speaking club, and we are going to have a deploy talk. Juan Campuzano is our teacher today, and I met him because I was a teacher years ago, and he was my student, and right now he is my teacher. Okay, so he's a master on Flutter and other stuffs, and actually Campuzano works in a big company here in Colombia called Bancolombia. So he's a developer expert in Bancolombia. And today we are going to learn more about Flutter and how to build Flutter applications without no coding, like a by coding, something like that, my friend.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. And why we are doing this deploy talk in English.
Well, like a little bit of context before we start. I'm currently looking for a GDE. That's a Google Developer Expert badge, and one of the requirements is that I have to give 2 talks in English. This is one of them, and also this is like experiment for the Tribu, like trying this kind of format. But that's the main reason, yeah. So trying to meet those requirements, and yeah.
So welcome everybody and enjoy this presentation. Bye bye.
Well, thank you, Tate. And as he says, my name is Juan Diego Campuzano Osorio. I'm currently in Bancolombia as a developer experience software engineer. Yeah. And developer experience is like, as you know, there are some certain roles in design, like customer experience, that focus on making the applications like more easy to use for customers or users. Yeah. So in contrast to that, there's also a role called the developer experience, that the focus is to make the developer experience easier. Yeah, like creating tools to install, I don't know, languages, frameworks, SDKs, the way more easier. Yeah. A fun fact, as Tote said, he was my teacher in high school, and now we are here like 10 years later. Yeah, that's curious. And well, let's start. And before we start, I would like to know if some of you know what is Flutter, have heard of Flutter. No, no idea. Okay, that's good. So let's imagine this scenario. Yeah, we have in nowadays we have all of these kind of devices. We have smartphones, laptops, smart TVs, smart watches, all that start with smart. Yeah, and these devices are fabricated by multiple vendors. Yeah, for example, we have smartphones from Android that it's owned by Google. We have from Apple the classic iPhone. Yeah, also we have laptops from Windows, Apple, the same case for TVs, LG, Samsung, and the same for smartwatches. We have Android, Apple, and we also have other vendors, kind of Garmin, Polar, that are for sports. And let's imagine a scenario. Yeah, we have all these devices nowadays. Yeah, so one day you just wake up and you just said, I want to start my own business. Yeah, I want to create the next Facebook, the next Uber, I don't know, something like that. And you start to think, so how do I build an applications if I have all these kind of devices? Yeah, you will need to hire one expert for each technology, like one developer for kind of each technology. So for example, you will need to hire an iOS engineer, Android engineer, Windows engineer, and even maybe Samsung engineer for their operating system. But what if there is one language or framework that combines all of these devices with only one code base? Yeah. So this is like the overview of the problem. Yeah. You will have to hire all of this team just imagine that. Yeah. So also the time to market, yeah, will be affected because you will have to maintain multiple applications from different vendors, and that will be very the cost will go up. Yeah, and the time to deliver those applications to your customers will be up. Yeah. So what happens if we only have one code base? Yeah, that is Flutter. So with only one code base, you could build your application for all these multiple devices. So you could build your application for Android and iOS with the same code base, the same design, the same logic. The same applies for desktop or laptops, and also in TV. Yeah. And like a fun fact in that is that LG, the vendor from TVs, they are creating their applications with Flutter. Yeah. And obviously, if you can create applications for iOS or Android, you can use those applications in your smartwatch. Yeah, you just have to change a little bit the design. Yeah, to fit that small screen. So yeah, that's like an idea of Flutter. Yeah. So you will only need to have like a team it is specialized in Flutter, or even you yourself, you can like create only one code and deploy that to these all platforms. Yeah. And so, what is Flutter? If you have any questions, don't hesitate to interrupt me. Yeah, you can raise your hand, whatever. Do we have live questions or something?
If you want,
You
I'm reading on the chat.
all right. You just tell me if there is any question. So yeah, continuing. So what is Flutter? Flutter is a SDK. Yeah, SDK is a software development kit. Yeah, it has like a multiple frameworks inside of them. Like you could do multiple things with that. We are not going to enter a lot of in that topic because this is like more non-technical talk. But yeah, it was developed by Google in 2017. It is open source. Open source means that everyone who wants to contribute to Flutter can do it. Yeah, you could search the repository online in GitHub. You can see all the issues that are open, and you can contribute solutions to those issues. Yeah, and it is powered by Dart. That is the programming language that empowers Flutter. It was released in 2011. Yeah, it is also open source, maintained by Google. And who trusts Flutter? As I was telling you earlier, yeah, there are many companies that are using Flutter nowadays. For example, Toyota is one of them, Bancolombia, as I was telling you earlier. And BMW is also using, I think, I remember that their application is built on top of Flutter. LG, Xiaomi, PUBG, the Battle Royale game has also like a part of Flutter, not the entire game, but a part of it. Nubank and eBay are like the top companies that are using Flutter right now. So for example, Toyota, they have chose Flutter to rebuild their infotainment system. That is like the screen you have in your car. That the applications that are in that screen are made in Flutter. Yeah, there is like a whole document you can search in internet that entry. Yeah, so there is like this whole document, like they explain it. There is even a YouTube video where they are explaining how they are using Flutter and how that improved their experience building these applications for the infotainment system. And well, let's start with a little dynamic. I have built a game in Flutter. Yeah, this game it's like do you know the dinosaur from Google? Yeah, when there's no internet. So for this dynamic, I need 3 volunteers and one, two, another one, 3. Well, let's you first. So the dynamic is it's simple. You just have to make the highest score. Yeah. Let me this one. It's very simple. You just jump with the tap. Yeah.
The tap or
no tap? No, quack. Yeah. If you can do a double tap for jump higher.
why is it down?
No, just one. Let's see who can make the.
What if I win? Like this never ends.
You will win 2 choco breaks. This game is built with Flutter and a package called Flame. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, it is built for the web. Yeah. And this game I could also compile it to a mobile application, our desktop application. The same game as you can see it. Yeah. Well, it is getting harder. Okay. 1,263. I will get it here. Next one. Early. Yeah. No, we click. You can do a double click also. No, only with click. Mm.
I'm a Windows player.
Let's see who gets the highest score. That would mean that person keeps without internet because he keeps playing that dinosaur game.
For building that kind of video game, do you use some package for the graphics?
And yeah, I will explain a little bit more later, but yeah, it is Flutter itself. It is a little bit difficult to Flutter to render all this game. So there is a package that helps him like that. It is specialized for that. And the graphics are sprites. Yeah. Do you know the concept sprites that basically are like images that you just put in your game? Yeah. Uh-huh. With this. You just you see click click. Right. Yes. What was your score? What? 84. Yeah. Hmm. Let's see.
That use something like Canvas or something like that.
Yeah, the package that enables Flutter to do this kind of stuff has a canvas, so you can like position items in the screen, like we do it with in that class, graphic computing. With yeah,
You need to drop so similar to Unity.
not that similar because with Unity you have like a whole IDE where you can just drag and drop the items. Ah, what was the score? What was? Uh, 1,000 what? Should we give her another chance or? Yes. Okay. No, no. Ah, yeah. There is it. 104, no, 1,421. Yeah, that's the highest score. See, yeah, yeah. So, yeah. No, I didn't play the game earlier. It doesn't have a memory, so that's the highest of that session. Yeah, not. I give you two. It doesn't have memory, so when you start the game again, it would, yeah. So yeah, it's not like Unity because you just have to write code. Yeah, you don't see like what are you putting in the screen. So if you want to know what's on the screen, you will have to build the application. Yeah. So yeah, it's more like a canvas. You have like a class canvas that has some methods, for example, coordinates. So you have to start playing with coordinates. Yeah, the 0, 0 point it starts in top left. So you just have to start playing with that, even if the UI is, as you know, Flutter renders in multiple devices. You will have to take in account what device are you rendering the game, so you have to use different coordinates depending on the device.
Like working with different layouts.
Exactly, yeah, that's like a kind of responsive, but you have to make it yourself. So yeah, it's a little bit of that. Yeah, I can share you the code later. Yeah, it is public in GitHub. So, but I didn't post the a QR or the links here, but I can share you. So that was the first dynamic. Congratulations. Yeah. So as I was telling you, this was built on Flutter and Flame. Yeah, Flame is like the package. You can search it here in the internet. This is like the official marketplace of packages, libraries, where you can just post your package. And here is all the documentation you need. With this, you can start building kind of a lot of games. Yeah, I have a friend of on work that made I don't know how's that game called. It's like there is a person that he says that he is, for example, I'm saying I'm Juan Diego, yeah. So I'll tell you some stuff that Juan Diego will say, and you will have to guess if I'm really Juan Diego or I'm not Juan Diego, yeah. So yeah, but it's like with AI, yeah, with imposter. It's like, but it is with AI. So for example, he shows a person like with some aspect, and that person, for example, I don't know, that person has black hair, yeah. So yeah, like, and he says, I have brown hair, so that's a lie. So you start like determining if that person is saying the truth or it is false, and that's powered by AI. Yeah, I will talk a little bit more of AI with Flutter later. So yeah, let's keep going. Play. So if you want to play it like later, that's the URL. Yeah, pretty easy. Someone wants to scan it. You can play on your mobile phone. If someone beats her score, I can give that person more choco breaks. Remember, 1,421. That's the highest score. Yeah, so Flutter can work in multiple devices, can create games, that kind of stuff, but it is scalable, it is reliable. And so for showing you that, we are, as I told you earlier, we are using Flutter in Bancolombia. Yeah, this app was totally rebuilt with Flutter. Yeah, the previous application was built by a vendor. I don't know well what was the framework, but the organization took the mission to rebuild the whole application in Flutter. It was a pretty tough challenge, but we've made it. And to show you a context, in the organization we have something called a design system, yeah, and all of our components are built in Flutter. Yeah, we have multidisciplinary teams that are focused on building experiences for our customers. And one of those experiences are a design system. So for example, if tomorrow we have to build a whole new page for the application, we only need to take that design system and start building, yeah, like reusing the components. So thanks to that, we have saved in money this quantity, yeah, that's $7,823,430, yeah, taking like an average of 30 USD per hour per engineer in 5 years, yeah. So if we wouldn't have that design system, maybe we will waste all that money, yeah. So yeah, Flutter for big scale applications, it is pretty good. Our experience has been good so far. That's like a context of what are we building here. And there is a quote that says that everything in Flutter is a widget. Yeah, everything in Flutter is a widget. So like to picture that, I took some slides from a previous presentation I made in December in the Google developer groups in Pereira. So I was telling them the same I'm telling you here. We have all these components that are living in a repository. So if a team wants to build a whole new page or a whole new application, they just have to grab those components and start building that page, yeah? So I like to compare that as a Lego, yeah? So you could like create multiple experiences, yeah, with that Legos. So yeah, that's like our focus now. We are like building multiple experiences on top of things that are already existed. Yeah. And I didn't post the slide here, but like a fun fact is that, do you know Breve, like for transferring money between banks that is free? I was working in that team like the last year, like in February, March, for those months. And we were able to create all the Breve screens in 1 month, thanks to thanks to that we have that design system on all those reusable components and experiences.
Could you please unplug again because we are facing some issues?
Yeah, technical issues. You tell me when it's done. Again? I think I have to unplug it, wait for your signal, and yeah. Let's see. It should be sharing now.
Review if the NDA.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It says it is capturing my screen. Sorry, technical issues. We will be back soon. Nothing? I'm going to restart the application.
NDA. Have you? Could you please double check you are connected? Saying
Yeah, I'm the same Wi-Fi. Auditorios. Now, well, meanwhile, do you have any questions? No? Yeah, like fishing, some that kind of stuff. Yeah, but like I mean, our components are not available for everyone. Yeah, they are in private repositories. Even that, there is a chance or the possibility that you can copy the size. For example, and nowadays you can see that there are web pages that are very similar to the original Bancolombia page. That's called phishing. Yeah, it is achievable, and for that, the bank has like a whole area that is focused on fraud. Yeah, and but our components are not like free for everyone, like just like that. Yeah, there's no like there's a lot of restrictions for you accessing that. I cannot even access them with my computer. I have to use my work computer for access those repositories. So yeah, yeah. And even there is an idea that we, in some moment, we would like to like make this available, but without the Bancolombia's trademark. yeah, just like white components. Like if you want, like material, for example, there's a design system very popular called Material UI. Mhm. I think that there is internet issues. So yeah, it's called Material UI. It's like a set of components where you can reuse them. Yeah, we made something like this board for ourselves, and that's how we work nowadays. Yeah, and there is an idea. I don't know when, I don't know how, but we would like to make our design system like available for everyone. But obviously with no without colors, even our trademark. Yeah, yeah. You just have to use the, I don't know, a button, and you define what typography, what color. Yeah, but that's an idea that I don't know if it's going to be possible. But yeah. Mm, well, like a comparison between frameworks, you should just take trade-offs, like what's better for me according to your situation. Yeah, but there are also like benchmarks. Flutter has quite better performance than the TypeScript, a TypeScript framework like Ionic, or even the other one called React Native. But as I told you, that also depends on what are your necessities. But I recently saw an article where one company, I think it was Airbnb in 2016, they were using React Native, and they decided to change their application to native because the performance with React Native was not very good. At that time, Flutter was burning, yeah, and so for that reason, they changed it to native, yeah, native development. And even in a fun fact, before we made the whole application in Flutter, we use Xamarin, yeah, with C Sharp. Uh, so we made a benchmark, like comparing what are the benefits of using Xamarin with C Sharp against C Sharp against against Flutter. And in that benchmark, we took two senior developers that had the Xamarin certification, the professional Xamarin certification, and we put them to develop like an application. Yeah. So we measured what was the learning curve of using Xamarin and Flutter, and we noticed that it is faster for some developers, or most of the developers, to learn Flutter that, for example, Xamarin. Yeah. So yeah, the learning curve is one of those benefits. The performance is another of those benefits, and not only the performance of the application, but the speed you gain from developing. And thanks to those benchmarks, that we also looked the market, what was the trending of Flutter in those years, we took that decision of taking Flutter in our stack. Yeah. So yeah, it also depends on the trade-off. If you talk to someone who uses React Native, they will tell you Flutter sucks. if you talk to someone who is very like radical to Flutter, it will tell you React Native sucks. Even nowadays in social media like Twitter or X, you could see that there is people still fighting for that kind of stuff. Yeah, you could also find that there are like people saying that Flutter is dead. There is even, I think there is even a web page that says that Flutter is dead. Flutter is definitely not dead. Yeah. Even Google uses it in applications. For example, Google Classroom. You both maybe use it. Yeah. So Classroom is made in Flutter, both the web page and the mobile application. Even I saw recently that they rebuilt the Google Earth application in Flutter. The web page it is also in Flutter. So yeah, it depends. You could find any kind of stuff in internet. Yeah, but for example, if you want to build fast an application really fast, like fast in development and with very good performance, I will tell you to use Flutter. Yeah, if your application it is very complex and you will need to access a lot of like mm, information from the device, yeah, that kind of stuff, I will tell you to go native. Yeah, like think about it. Like think about native. If definitely your budget doesn't cover the native development, just use Flutter. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? No. Let's continue. So in our team, we don't need to have like Xamarin expert or an iOS expert or an Android expert. We just have Flutter developers. Yeah. And right now we are more than 500 developers using Flutter, just Flutter. Yeah. In total developers, there are more than 2,000 developers in Bancolombia. And one of my like tasks in my job is to make the experience for those 500 developers